Oh, hello everybody. Merry Christmas. Welcome to the Forbidden Land podcast. On this magnificent day before, right before the week of Christmas is coming up, we've received an early, magnificent Christmas gift. The gift of war. I did not put any of this in my doc, but it looks like war with Venezuela is imminent. And by the time this comes out, you'll know, one, what the announcement at 9 p.m. was, because I haven't seen it yet. It's 7:50. But two, you'll know if we're at war with Venezuela. Now, I wrote an article about this, and I said, like, look, this is why they're probably wanting to go to war. This is why it mirrors the Iraq War and all this stuff. And now, I mean, dude, fuck. The price of a haircut around these parts, the price of food. You know how many times I've been eating frozen meals for dinner? Too much. The sodium content in my bloodstream is too high. And I'm getting really sick of it. Like, really sick of it. Why are we even doing this? Our gas prices are going to be through the roof. Or maybe they won't, depending on how much oil we seize. Except that's not how that works. Like, the U.S. seizes all this oil and we do nothing with it. Like, we do nothing for the people with it. This is absolutely ridiculous. That we're actually going to war with Venezuela, more than likely. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he just comes out and is like, folks, I had gay sex in the Oval Office. I mean, I hope it's something like that. That'd be kind of cool. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be him being like, folks, we're releasing the unredacted Epstein files. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. There's no way he's going to do that. It's going to be something like a war with Venezuela. The U.S. is like literally forming a blockade around Venezuela. It's an intention to start a war, and we're also violating international law. Apparently, we're also violating U.S. law by completely usurping Congress and just going right into this. I mean, he didn't even consult with Congress. He told Congress he was going to start the war, allegedly, which that's not how that works. It's supposed to be Congress declares war. The president just controls what we do in that war, not the president starts a war. Then Congress just goes, I guess we got to go along with it. So, I mean, Congress would still vote to start this war anyway. Like Chuck Schumer is probably like drooling and sweating at the thought of voting yes to a war with Venezuela. So, yeah, we have a blockade on the country. In addition to this, I mean, Dan Bongino is wanting to step down. Apparently, he's the deputy director of the FBI. Insane man. He's pretty crazy. He said he's going to be leaving in January. He said he wanted to go back to being a podcaster. Wow. What an idiot. That guy, man. You know, he was like juiced up on being a podcaster, and then literally not even a full year of being in the Trump administration, he's calling it quits. This is real calling. He's just wanted to be a podcaster this whole time. Oh, man. Yeah. Current updates are that we're currently provoking Venezuela at the moment. Venezuela asked the UN Security Council on Wednesday to hold an emergency meeting over the U.S.'s actions. A letter drafted by Venezuela's foreign minister, a copy of which was seen by the New York Times, said the President of the United States is violating with impunity and before the entire world our national sovereignty and the country's territorial integrity and political independence. The letter accused the United States of violating international law and the UN Charter and imposing chaos and destruction on international relations. In a separate letter to the Council, Venezuela asked the 15-member Council to intervene and denounce in writing the actions of Washington against its vessels and trade. The U.S. is a veto-holding permanent member of that council. Awesome. I feel like the UN in general should not have shit like that anymore. I feel like it's been so long that there should be no such thing as a veto-holding type of member. Like the U.S. shouldn't be able to single-handedly strike down resolutions. Like the recent one that they did where they were like some fucking thing about like a person's like right to exist or some shit like that. Some basic humanity type of vote, and the U.S. was like the only vote no. Even Israel didn't even vote no. Israel abstained. Like the U.S. just does not need to have that level of power. That's insane. It's an insane level of unchecked power. And defeats the whole purpose of the UN. It just doesn't make any sense because the U.S. is one of the founding members. They get to be a permanent, overarching veto holder. Like, what the fuck? That's insane. Oh, the other thing is that the House did not. The House did not include any sort of ACA subsidies in their healthcare package. So, folks, where's Chuck Schumer at? Thomas Massie seems to be the only Republican with a spine because he voted to vote against the package that didn't include the ACA subsidy extension. Chuck Schumer, where are you? You got that promised little pinky promise deal. Where is it? Where are the ACA subsidies? You said it was coming. You said you'd be promised a vote. I guess he was promised one in the Senate, though, right? So yeah. What a fucking joke Chuck Schumer is. This just proves our entire point about him. We are in deep shit, folks. Like, deep shit. Absolute deep shit. Holy fuck, New York Post. How much shit do y'all want? House crushes Dems' attempt to rein in Trump's military campaign against Venezuela. Quote unquote, illegitimate Maduro regime. Wow. Lawmakers rejected House Democrats' attempt to rein in President Trump's. This thing stopped showing me parasites. To rein in President Trump's pressure on Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro with a pair of war powers votes on Wednesday, marking a win for the president's crusade against the narco-terrorist regime. The narco-terrorist regime? Fellas, is it illegal to have a country that drug dealers operate in? Because if that's the case, everybody should be warring with the U.S. right now. The House shot down 2 separate war powers resolutions to block additional military action without Congress's explicit okay. One aimed at pulling U.S. forces out of any conflict with Venezuelan forces, and another insisting that any new land offensive must be approved by Congress first. The vote signals the GOP-led House won't put legislative brakes on Trump. One day after the president declared the Caracas government a, quote, foreign terrorist organization, end quote, and announced a total and complete blockade of oil imports and exports. Jesus Christ. The peaceful president, by the way, the no new wars president. This will be the first new war that Trump will be starting between his 2 terms. Under U.S. law, Congress can use the War Powers Act to check the president's unilateral power to commit the country to U.S. conflict without the legislative branch's consent, as the Constitution holds that only Congress has the ability to declare war. They put a picture of Chuck Schumer in here for some reason. It's weird. Ay, ay, ay. President Nicolas Maduro will not leave office without further U.S. pressure, Trump advocates fear. Oh my God. New York Democrat. What? Oh, this New York Democrats defeated bill would have removed U.S. troops from hostilities with any presidentially designated terrorist organization in the Western Hemisphere without lawmakers' authorization. It failed 210 to 216, with two Republicans voting with Democrats. Wow. Yeah, Trump posted some shit on Truth Social about like they're on like uh stolen oil and land. Um, Trump said that America, quote, America will not allow criminals, terrorists, and other countries to rob, threaten, or harm our nation, and likewise will not allow a hostile regime to take our oil, land, and any other assets. Insane. Our oil and our land. I think I think we're seeing what I and many others predicted. Yeah, here the illegitimate Maduro regime is using oil from these stolen oil fields to finance themselves. You know how many times we've gone to war over oil being nationalized? You know how insane that is? Like how many times we've done this? And I me and many others were saying this for a while that when Trump gets back into office, he's going to go full tilt. I mean, he doesn't need to win another election. He just needs to do enough damage where it becomes semi-permanent. And we said for a long time that he will go full send. And this is him going full send, I think. I think this is him just straight up admitting, yep, we're doing this war because we want regime change, we want their oil, and we want their land. That's it. He doesn't care. And he's ignoring Congress. Congress isn't going to stop him because they believe in the power of the executive branch. That whole Heritage Foundation idea that the executive branch should have more power and there should be a more central presidential dictatorship style government. And, you know, yeah, he's bypassing Congress. He's fully openly admitting why we're doing this. He's dropping all the pretext that this is because of drugs, that this is because we're defending America. No, he doesn't care. He's just coming full out and saying it. Why do I have so much confidence that this is just him being himself? Because of the other thing that he did. This famous director, Rob Reiner, who, you know, made A Few Good Men, pretty good movie, Princess Bride, really famous guy. He was murdered allegedly by his son. Him and his wife were murdered, and allegedly his son is the one who did it. And, you know, very sad, and all that. But because he criticized Donald Trump a few years ago, Trump came out and he said, a very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away, together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. How insane is this statement from a U.S. president? A guy who was just brutally murdered in his own home with his wife. And the president of the United States is saying that he died from Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, this is lunacy. This is actual, like, psychopathy. This might lead to the theory that he has some kind of dementia. This could lead to the theory that he, I don't know, is losing it, or he's just going full mask off. I don't know. I can't tell. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness. And with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before, may Rob and Michelle rest in peace. Wow, what a shitbag. Also, that's 3 sentences. This man does not know how to write. That was 3 sentences. Holy runoff, brother. And you might be like, oh, he just posted that, and surely his team had him delete it, and his team, told him, hey, Mr. Trump, can you fuck off and stop doing shit like this? Because he could have just said nothing. There was nobody asking for his statement on this. And him making this statement has made people turn on him. People were calling into the Megyn Kelly show to complain about this. His polling has gone down because of this and the war in Venezuela and the economic distress on everybody right now. The lack of jobs reporting, the lack of inflation reporting. All of this factors into his low-ass approval rating. Low as shit, by the way. He could have walked this back, right? Someone asked him if he wanted to walk back these statements because of people in the GOP criticizing him, and he doubled down. He doubles down.
A number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. It was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all, in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country. Yeah.
Slips, Mr. President.
How insane is that? Hey, Mr. President, do you want to walk back your insensitive comments about a beloved director? Well, I think he was a real piece of shit and a piece of work. I think he's a horrible person and yada, yada, yada. And listen to how he refers to himself in the third person.
Reiner, do you stand
A fan of his at all? He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew.
As far as Trump is concerned.
He knew it was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said,
why did he say that? Oh my God, I'm hungry. I just heard my stomach growl. Why did he say that? Why did he just say as far as Trump is concerned? I'm sorry? Why did he just refer to himself in the third person? That makes no sense. I mean, my God. What a weird ass thing to do. And yeah, I think he's going crazy. I really do. I think he's going nuts. Now, like, why is he starting a war in Venezuela right now? Like, why is he really escalating it? And he's supposedly gonna have a press conference about it. And I like wrote about this, the case for a war in Venezuela. Why not? And I put a bunch of stuff in there about this. I think I know why he's ramping things up. Friday, homework is due, folks. Homework is due. Friday is the deadline for... Holy crap. Friday is the deadline for the Epstein files from the DOJ to officially be released. And... This is weird. And, I think they're scared. Genuinely, I think they're scared. Yeah. I think the Trump administration is a little afraid of what might come out in these files. Now, that is if they don't absolutely cover it in redactions or just flat out refuse to release them. But I think because it'll be highly talked about at that point, they're trying to distract you with this offensive against Venezuela. is as long as this continues, you will never have health care. You will never have affordable housing. Never have public transit. You will be stuck in traffic for a third of your life. You will work until you die. You will probably eventually become a slave to a business owner if things continue this way. You will never be able to live a happy life like the elders before you. You'll never be able to make it to retirement age. And if you do, you're going to be working until you're dead. You'll never be able to afford going to the doctor. You'll probably die from some illness because you can't afford it. I mean, that's just some of the things that will happen. You won't be able to afford food anymore. I'll tell you that. Just some of the things that will occur, without any realistic changes in the way that our government works in anything. Here's another photo. Here's the president of the United States with a bunch of women. This photo's in the Epstein House Oversight Committee files. We're also still waiting on the release of the grand jury files from, the Florida case in 2007. Here's Noam Chomsky with Steve Bannon in these files. Presumably Epstein took this photo based on some of the other photos. What's going on here? Why is he doing this? Why is he hanging out with Steve Bannon? I've never really been a big fan of Noam Chomsky anyways, so I don't really, this doesn't really affect me all that much. Here's a previously released photo of Alan Dershowitz with Jeffrey Epstein. This photo's been released before by a publication, but obviously it's part of the House oversight files that were given to them by the subpoena on the Epstein estate. I saw a lot of Republicans trying to be like, some of these photos have been released before, man. And I think it's like 2 or 3. It's like that House Oversight Committee, I believe, has tens of thousands of photos, like a lot to go through. And this is just some of them. So, like, who cares if a couple of them have been released before? What was the other one that they were like, this one's been released before? Guys, this one's been released before. See, these aren't new. They were trying to community note me on Twitter. Let me see if that community note ever went through. I think it'll be the first time I've ever been successfully community noted. See, I posted the link. Yeah. Okay, it never successfully did it. Here's the community note. Any note with the Dropbox link? Senior journalists at BBC verify only some of the 19 photos released by Democrats on the House Oversight Committee appear to be new. Some have been around for years. For example, these photos are not new. Who cares? Let's see, this one, the one with Prince Andrew. Okay. The one with Alan Dershowitz. Okay. And this one. Yeah, because I know I've seen this one before. With a Victoria's Secret model. Okay. Who cares? Those aren't even like the worst of the photos. We're just going to start community noting these posts because of nitpicks. We're not going to acknowledge the photo of Trump with the girls, or we're not going to acknowledge, the photos with Steve Bannon, or I don't know, one of the more damning ones, which this one's not too damning, but one of the more notable ones is this autographed photo of Bill Clinton. I mean, come on. Holy crap, this dude wrote a fucking novel in the comments. If you're writing a novel in the comments on Dropbox, you've lost the plot. Holy crap. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Nate Coleman writing all this shit about Trump being innocent. Holy shit, dude. Novelist over here. Here's a cute little selfie with Epstein and Steve Bannon. Hey, taking a selfie with my boo. Just a little cheeky selfie with my boo. This photo has to be like from the year that he died, right? He looks so like old in this photo. He just looks like how he did the year that he died. I feel like this is probably one of the last photos of him. Like, there's no way. I don't know. I guess we'll see when they drop another fucking 2 photos next week. I wish they would just start dropping them like crazy. I know that they have to like redact victims, but I wish they would just start rapid firing them off. They need to speed that up a little bit. Here's a photo of former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. Yeah, like that one guy has a point. Hey, Ghislaine, wouldn't it be funny if I just randomly took a photo of this guy on his phone? Yeah, this guy is Ehud Barak, the former Prime Minister of Israel. Like, come on. Oh my god, there's an anti-Semite in the fucking comments, dude. Jesus. But yeah, I mean, is that not fishy with all the news about like Mossad agents staying at Epstein's properties or Epstein's suspicious connection with Israel? I mean, there's just a photo of him and Ehud Barak, or of Ehud Barak in like his, what I presume to be one of his residencies. So, I don't know, man. Oh yeah, Woody Allen's in some of these. I believe Bill Gates is in one of these. Where's he at? Yeah, sorry, some of these are sideways, by the way. Yeah, here's Bill Gates. Here's some businessman. And then here's like another photo of Donald Trump. Yeah, I mean, you can go find these photos. Here's Epstein, you know. Yeah. You can go find these photos. This one's kind of funny. I'm huge. I'm huge. Yeah. Woody Allen and Epstein, circle jerk buddies. Jesus. What is wrong with this John Doe guy? There's a reason why he had to put John Doe, by the way, on his account name, because he'd probably get fucking eviscerated at his job for saying shit like that. Why do y'all have to bring anti-Semitism into it? Why can't y'all just criticize that there's a notorious sex predator, child trafficker, and notorious adopted daughter marrying child predator Woody Allen talking to each other on like a film set? I mean, come the fuck on. Why do you have to bring in like in anti-Semitism on that? There's so much to work off of. You don't have to be racist with it. Yeah. So there you go. There's the new batch of Epstein files. Hopefully we'll get the real thing on Friday, but I kind of doubt it. I just realized this comes out on Friday, so hopefully we got the real thing today. I hope. You know, one can hope. In some Hope Corps news. Oh, my thigh hurts. In some Hope Corps news, Zohran Mamdani ally, who helped Mamdani claim the primary in New York City, has launched a campaign in the Democratic primary against Representative Dan Goldman of the 10th District. Brad Lander is the New York City comptroller. and he has thrown his hat into the ring, and Mamdani has backed him. Pretty cool, actually. You know, I'm all for it. I know that Brad Lander has some questionable views on Israel, and I know that. But he would be better than Israeli spokesperson Representative Dan Goldman. I mean, be honest, be real. Who would you rather have? Apex Butt Boy or Brad Lander? I would rather have Brad Lander. So that's kind of cool. Because, I mean, it's not like he's going to be the comptroller anymore. So that'd be kind of cool to see. Yeah. Now to bring the mood down again. There were some shootings. One of them was in America. Surprise, surprise. The sky's blue, water's wet. There's a shooting at a university. Really sad. And like I always say, I don't think I can ever get as passionate as I did when I was covering the Appalachia high school shooting. You know, there's a shooting literally every day, and politicians would rather, you know, insider trade and take money from Israel and say, go fuck yourself for wanting to buy candy with food stamps, than pass some meaningful legislation to prevent further shootings. I swear to God, if this neighbor of mine doesn't stop fucking revving his truck. It's been so long since he's done it. And he always chooses like now to do it. Yeah, politicians would rather, you know, twiddle their thumbs and fuck their own butt with their like fucking thumb in the seat of the chamber than pass any legislation that prevents this from happening. You know, they'd rather take that NRA money. So, yeah, keep that in mind when you go to the ballot in the midterms, that if you're willing to let your children die in school, or you're willing to get shot at a concert, or get shot at a grocery store, or shot in an office building, or shot on the street, or shot at school when you're in college, if you're willing to take that chance every time you go out in public to get absolutely obliterated in one of the many school shootings we have each day, or sorry, in one of the many shootings in general we have each day, then yeah, I guess vote Republican if you're willing to do that. But if you actually want to feel safe when you're in public, vote for a politician that will actually pass some meaningful gun reform legislation. Speaking of a country that actually does have a lot of gun reform legislation, in Australia, there was a shooting at a gathering of people celebrating. It was a group of Jewish people celebrating, and gunmen came in and started firing. And, you know, I think we've all watched that video of that guy disarming the gunman. Pretty awesome. But it is an unfortunate tragedy. And I saw a lot of people in the U.S. say, like, look, they have strict gun reform laws. And look at that. A brutal shooting. You won't hear the libs talk about this one. That's their first mass shooting in about 30 years. We have one every day. Every day there is a mass shooting in this country, or a shooting in general in this country. That's their first major shooting in 30 years. Over about 30 years. Gun reform isn't meant to eliminate the problem entirely. That's impossible. There's laws for speeding, people still speed. But you don't see people advocating for us to get rid of laws for speeding because it's not stopping all the speeders. People reasonably understand that laws like that deter the behavior. Laws like that decrease the amount at which people will do something most of the time. You know, If murder was legal, people would be killing people way more often. But we don't have murder laws in the hopes that it'll completely eliminate murder. We have murder laws to deter murder. We understand reasonably you'll never completely eliminate a problem like this. It'll just decrease how often it happens. So if you passed gun reform laws in this country, a lot more people would be alive. But yeah, continue letting people have unfettered access to firearms and have a complete access to, just doing whatever the fuck they want with them. And it's crazy how Republicans will be like, oh, think about the mental health crisis. Think about the mental health crisis. They could not give a damn about the mental health crisis in this country. Economic hardship causes mental health decline. Lack of health care causes mental health decline. How are people supposed to seek out mental health care if they can't afford it? The Republicans don't care about health care reform. They don't care about economic reform. Their goal as politicians are to suck you dry of all your money at the behest of their donors. And a lot of Democrats do this too. Don't get me wrong. Most Democrats do this. They're in the same boat. Democrats and Republicans are on the same ship, different sides of the ship. Still sailing towards the same goal. So, if you want to address the mental health crisis, address healthcare reform and economic reform, two of the leading causes of mental health problems in this country, in any country. That is why people become as mentally ill as they do. Because of stuff like that. They feel like they have no hope. They feel like they have no other options. Or they get sent into such a spiral, it makes them go crazy. A lot of the conspiracy theories people are fed cause them to do stuff like this. They start going nuts and they think the only way out is to just go kill people. So, that's how you solve the gun crisis in this country. That's how you solve the mass shooting murder crisis in this country. Is you have helpful gun reform, economic reform, healthcare reform, and people will be generally safer and healthier and more well off. Homelessness will go down. Mental health crises will go down. You need to fix the housing market, regulate it better. Put better regulations on food, all this stuff. But that would be asking for too much. I mean, we should just continue with the capitalistic hellscape that we live in because it's working out so well. You know what? I just feel like launching just a little wee war, just a wee little war on another sovereign nation, just cause I don't like their president, and I need something to do. I need that oil, buddy. I need that oil. All right. I guess that's it for this episode. A little shorter, but we'll come back with a banger next week. And by this point, you'll probably know if we're at full-scale war with Venezuela, and by this point, you will also know if the Epstein files dropped from the DOJ. So, all right, that's it. Have a decent weekend, or have a good Christmas if you celebrate. Have a happy holidays. And thanks for listening. You can go to patreon.com/ForbiddenLandPod if you want to support us. Get some bonus content, perhaps. Check out the merch store, because I believe that website's running a lot of sales. Because I keep getting text messages about it. And yeah, thanks for listening. You can find us on Apple Podcast or Samsung refrigerators if you so happen to own one. Even the ones with Alexa built in, you can listen to this on, because we're on Amazon Music too, apparently. So yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, thanks for supporting, if you are. And yeah. Peace.